covering all 4 major sports in the District of Champions. It's the DC Crossover Podcast with your hosts, Mike Cerrone and Ben Simpson.
Hello and welcome to another episode of DC Crossover, episode 124. I am Ben Simpson. That is Mike Cerrone. We are recording this on a Tuesday evening, a few days removed from the disaster that was the Washington Commanders this weekend. And we'll touch a little bit on that game, but it's so depressing how bad this team is looking that we're going to focus on some other fun elements today. I've got a couple snacks that I'm going to taste test for you.
Nice.
Mike's going to bring back his the Sultan seltzer reviews. So we'll keep this show relatively light because, I mean, what's more depressing than talking about this Commanders team and just
could be a shorter ep.
Yeah, I think we're gonna sprinkle in some fun with the horribleness. But I guess let's start before we get into the football side of things. I did want to hear about your weekend, of course, and I know. See, Mike obviously doesn't have, not obviously, but doesn't have any kids yet. So your weekend can, as far as your football viewing, I assume is you checking out the bars, going to sports bars, and watching the games there and things like that. Where did you frequent this weekend?
So last weekend, I will say that because I am a Commander/Redskins fan, and Jess is a Steelers fan. Legit Steelers fan, might I add, though, from Pittsburgh, not like some person from, Georgia or some random place. Because obviously they're a team that everyone kind of bandwagons on because they're winning so much over the last recent years. But looking at it, last week we went to Carpool, and Carpool is one of my favorite spots. I frequent there for the most part because I'm the type of guy, and everyone knows this from college and stuff like that. When I go to bars, I like doing things like I like playing darts, or I like playing pool, or watching a game, or something that you're invested in. Because when I like to go there, now it's one of my knacks. Like, some people obviously like doing other things and just like hanging out and chilling and stuff like that. But for me, it's like I don't have like ADHD or ADD or whichever the correct term is.
Sure you don't.
But I like sitting there and just like, having something to do, just shooting the ass and stuff like that. But that's my thing is Carpool is one of my favorite spots because it's a low key bar. They got some good deals and stuff like that. But last 2 weeks ago, went to Carpool. This week we tried to go to Carpool, but it was too packed. It's the one in Herndon's not the biggest place. So
that parking lot can get pretty small pretty quick.
The parking lot's weird too. It's like they want you to go through the front, but the parking lot's in the back, and it's just a weird spot. So then we ended up switching it up, and we went to Crossroads, which is in Chantilly. And it was kind of weird because the guy told us, like, he's like, "Oh, it's not too packed in here, so I didn't have any of the games on except the Commanders game." And I said, "Well, do you mind, turning the other games on too? You have 8 TVs in here, and you have 1 TV on football. I'm watching cornhole." But it was kind of weird. So
Crossroads.
Crossroads. It's over by IHOP, and
that's the place. It used to be called something else.
Could be. Yeah. I mean, it's right next to Taco Bell and all that stuff right there on 50.
Yeah, I've definitely been there, but it used to have a different name.
One side's smoking, the other side's not.
Yeah,
and everyone's on the smoking side, and no one's on the other side.
Bungalow Billiards is what it used to be
called. Oh, really? Was it
Back
that?
in the day. Yeah. Okay. So I've been there before.
Yeah. So basically, when we went there, that was it was chill and stuff like that. We got some good food and everything like that. And actually, the food was really great. I'm not gonna lie. That was the best. So last week we didn't get into it because we were talking about some other stuff. But last week, not this past weekend, but the weekend before that, when we were at Carpool. First thing I will mention is when you go to a bar and you're watching sports, and obviously this is a situation where I don't even know how to say it. When you go to a bar and there's tons of games on, like an NFL Sunday, you're not going to go there and just be like, "Oh, football!" Like, it's kind of weird. Like, you know what I mean? It's like the person that's sitting there and they start clapping when it's like a kickoff. Like, "Oh, he kicked it really far."
Oh, right. Okay.
Like those type of people that don't know what's going on, but they, they sit there and they act like it's the Super Bowl when it's like literally they just got a first down. Why are you acting like, you know, Cooper Kupp just won you the prize pool for the Super Bowl squares?
Right.
But this one lady, so I'll have two quick stories. This one lady, before we get to the other one that I've been prefacing for you for a little while now. This one lady is sitting there, and we couldn't tell which game she was really rooting for at the time, because like one game's a commercial and the other game is going on, and she's like, "Oh, darn it," you know, or something like that, because there's a flag. But then all of a sudden, like the other team does something well, and she's like, "Oh yeah, yeah," and she's like rooting for both teams in the same game.
Well,
And,
I mean, that's not a bad way to do it as a fan. Then you'll never be upset. You're rooting for both teams.
but then the next game comes on, and she's doing the same thing, and I'm like, is she just happy to be here? But the problem was she was doing it so obnoxiously, because 75 to 80% of the people there were watching the Commanders game or the Steelers game, one of the two. And then all of a sudden she's watching it was like the Dolphins fan that I mentioned the other episode. Yeah. Like they're sitting there and they're rooting for a game that's like on the, you know, the 32-inch TV in the corner that's from 1997.
Right.
You know, that's blurry and it's fuzzy.
Not
like
the
they're
priority
watching
game.
Yeah. And I understand you're a fan of everything, but you can't sit there and it's like start like clapping that, you know, they returned it to the 32-yard line. Like it's just weird. It's like it's weird and annoying, because when you're cheering for 3 different games, like I'm trying to focus on my game. I'm trying to figure it out. You know, I like in the bars when they have the local team, or if it's like a Bills bar, like Jimmy's is, and Sully's I think is something else. I forgot what Sully's is. But when you go to one of those bars and they have the game audio on, it's actually like you feel like you're in the game and stuff like that, because you know you're getting beers from the waiter or waitress or whatever, and you feel like you're watching the game. It's kind of a chill atmosphere. But then all of a sudden, when this lady's like cheering every like 40 seconds, you're just like, lady, like I know like you want to be here and you want to have some fun, but this person literally just called the timeout, and you're like, oh yes, all right, great job, great job.
This is why I can't do it. It's why I can't watch games at bars, man. I can't do it. I gotta watch it at home, because it's
right.
I can't deal with. It's not even about dealing with like the opposing fans, because yeah, that's one thing, but dealing with just the humanity that's there, that like either doesn't care about the game, or like you said is just being weird. It's just like I can't take it. I gotta.
You want to be involved, that's fine, but don't be involved too much to the point where you start getting annoying for the rest of the bar.
I want to watch my games in a locked room. I've got everything I need. I've got some snacks, some drinks. I've got access to a bathroom, and I don't want anybody in the room. I just want to have the game and me, and that's all I want. For me, that's my ideal viewing experience. If I'm going to watch my team, if I'm watching like, you know, Sunday night game or whatever, and it doesn't matter, like that's fine to be around people. Right. But if it's my team playing, I need nobody. I need to kick everybody out. I need to be in a locked, tiny little space with a little small TV, and just let me watch my team. That way I can yell if I want. I can, you know, stomp around if I want. Yeah. But I don't want. I don't like. Sometimes it's tough. It's tough watching. Like, I mean, I know you obviously with your significant other. It's like it's tough to watch games with like your significant other's family, like your in-laws and stuff. Yeah. Because like you can't be a psycho. Because like you're around them, you know. Well, it's not that even that. You can't be a psycho and like freak out if your team's doing badly, because like you know. I mean, it's okay to show some frustration, but
once you got money on it.
Well, you're right. But you can't be like acting like a total maniac because they're there, and you don't want them to be like, "Oh my God, who did our daughter marry?" But you know, so that's why it's tough. That's why for me, I just like watching games alone.
Oh, yeah.
It's my number one ideal viewing experience.
You know, if I have a basement or a viewing room or something like that has a projector or has a nice 75-inch TV or any type of experience like that, sure, I would prefer, you know, just chilling, watching it at home and, you know, having the surround sound on or whatever, then, you know, tuning into the games and all that kind of stuff. But obviously, you know, we just wanted to switch it up, you know, hang out at carpool for a little bit, grab some beers or whatever, because also it's kind of difficult because there has been some times where she has borrowed a Sunday ticket from a friend, and there have been blacked out games. So it's like, what's the point of having a Sunday ticket if the game's blacked out?
Yeah.
So obviously going there is a little bit different and stuff like that, and it's a change up. But going on from that, so one of my favorite places around town here is Ned's Divine Irish Pub.
Right.
And I told you about the chicken sandwich, the buff chicken sandwich. That thing is on point.
You
Get the
heard it here,
jalapenos off
folks.
there. Yeah. Get the jalapenos shouldn't be on there. They got some sriracha aioli on there. I'm not a huge arugula fan, but it's a green, so I leave it on there.
It's healthy.
And it's great. So last year and a little bit before that, me and Jess frequent there a lot. So when we go to Ned's, the first time we went there and heard this person, we were like, what the hell was that? And then all of a sudden, it kind of kept reoccurring. And I have an audio for you because the guy was there again this past weekend.
Okay.
And he's been there probably about 6 or 7 times that we have been there. Now, I'm not saying that we go there every single week. I'm not saying that we go there, 10 times a month. But for the frequent times that we do go there because it's so close by and, we like the part of the cloudies are there and all that kind of stuff and the food. He's been there. And
he's a frequent flyer at Ned.
He's a frequent flyer, and he just likes to talk to he likes to talk to random people, and he gets plastered. And he gets plastered. So I made a recording because he was there again of this guy, and we call him the Herndon Laugher. All right. Okay. So Ben has a small clip that he's going to play. He has not heard this clip before.
I have not, no.
And I want to see his live reaction, and I also want to hear his thoughts of the Herndon Laugher.
Okay, let me pull it up here. All right, so this is the Herndon Laugher. Let me go back. I got to play that part again here. Oh, wait, it came unplugged. Hold on.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it was so loud that it.
So,
yikes!
That guy,
yikes,
does that.
Don't like that.
About every 40 to 60 seconds, and then he looks around, like,
who else?
Did everyone hear my laugh?
Ooh.
Or it's because he laughs.
Like,
and you think if you're laughing that hysterically, something is knocking your boots off, all right? Or you're falling out of your chair. But then he immediately stops laughing after, like, when the video stops or when the audio stops right there, he's done for the next 60 seconds. It's like, how do you go when you talk about 0 to 100 by Drake? The thing about it is he goes 0 to 1,000 because I was literally 30 yards from this dude, and that's how loud it is. All I did was do voice memo on the stupid phone, and I could hear that guy from that far away, 30 yards.
I mean, that is because here's the thing: if you are an obnoxious laugher, you have to know that at this point in your life, you've been told this by your friends, your family, or whatever. And I think it's something that you have to kind of rein in a little bit. Now, look, I'm not telling you not to ever laugh, but I feel like if you're in a public setting like this, and if you're bringing that bad boy laugh out there 100 times in an hour, like that, you're laughing too much. You're laughing. you need to. Nothing is that funny. Nothing is funny enough for you to be laughing that much. No, that would be as soon as I heard that, I would say, check please. I'm leaving. I'm heading home.
Now think about this, okay? I've been everyone in the past. I would say everyone, maybe 92% of people say, I love your laugh and stuff like that. Because my laugh is pretty. It's not obnoxious, but it's louder. It's louder.
Laugh. A signature laugh. When Mike really gives his good guffaws, it is a signature laugh.
We've heard it on this show. I mean, you could go back to the Commanders thing when I saw your reaction. And the thing about it is when you're looking at my laugh, I'm not going to fake laugh and laugh so hard to the point where people are like, man, this guy's weird.
Also, when you're laughing, you're doing it for yourself. When that guy's laughing, clearly he's doing it for like everybody else. Like he's trying to attract attention. Yeah. You're just laughing because something's funny. That guy is laughing because he wants all the eyeballs looking at him. No, that is unbelievably obnoxious. It would drive me insane. I'm glad you took a video or audio of it.
Yeah,
we got to get that on the sound machine, I think.
Yeah, when something's really good.
Because you got that laugh, and then if you got our boy like Melvin. So if we get
Love
both
some
of those
Craig.
laughs on there, I think we'll be set.
Yeah, the Herndon Laugher, man. I'm telling you, he's a public menace. I mean, that guy, he just ruins everyone's day. I mean
oof.
I think I need to edit. I might edit it a little bit better so it's a lot less audio here in the beginning. But it's only 9 seconds.
It's rough. It's rough. The Herndon Laugher. We gotta at some point we gotta get the Herndon Laugher on this show. I feel like
we should make him like Dwight Schrute in The Office and like draw him on a paper and put him at Ned's and say, anyone seen the Herndon Laugher?
I want to see this gentleman. So next time you see him, just try to sneak a pic. I want to see what he looks like.
He kind of looks like what's his name? The guy that's Todd Packer in The Office.
Yeah, David
Keck.
Yeah.
So, but he has hair like a bowl cut kind of thing.
Oof. Okay. All right.
So he looks like him, but it's kind of like that. It's kind of like that type. Same body type and all that stuff. But like I said, he's like leaning over, and I'm watching the people that he's talking to, and they're not busting out laughing. Like the guy that's talking isn't like Jim Carrey, but you're thinking about like where does it come from? I just don't get it. Like it comes out of nowhere.
Leave
It
everybody
comes out of nowhere. And then he started tapping me earlier. Because like I said, when we go to Ned's, we're usually in just chill casual clothes, and Jess is wearing something Penn State, and he was like, Penn State. I'm like, dude, you got to get away from me. Like I'm about to I'm about to lose it because this guy was mumbling and stumbling, and I'm like, dude, you were here at least a half an hour before we were, and you're still here 2 hours later. I mean, and you're just soaking cocktails.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's like, he was talking to 4 different people. Then he was dancing with some random stranger, and it was just getting really weird because the stranger didn't like it, and then another stranger got involved dancing with. I mean, Ned's is Animal House. Man.
I don't leave the house. This is why I don't leave the house. Everyone, the Herndon Laugher. The Herndon Laugher. We gotta get it. We gotta hear more from the Herndon Laugher. I think we gotta get him on this show.
I'm gonna find him again. I'm gonna find him.
Let's step into the sports world for a bit before we move on to snacks and seltzers and all that.
We are the Commanders.
So, unfortunately, we do have to talk a little bit about this game. This is still a sports podcast. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter at the DC Crossover and at Cerrone16. We may have some sponsor news, hopefully, coming in the near future. We'll see. We're working on a couple things. It is not the Contender, I will say that. But there's some other stuff cooking, so we'll let you know. But the
milk carton.
24-8 final score in this one. Carson Wentz. Run through some of these stats. Wentz, 25 for 43 for 211. 0 zippy touchdown passes on the day. Jalen Hurts, 22 for 35, 340 yards, and 3 touchdown passes. The Eagles had 9 sacks in this game. I don't know what the record is, but watching this game, I was like, the Eagles might set a record for sacks in this game.
Oh, yeah.
And I was wondering, I was like, man, I really wish I had. And now that we've seen 2 games like this, you got to start looking at the betting lines for the prop bet for sacks for any team that's playing the Commanders. You got to see, like, is it over?
Especially next week against Micah Parsons.
Right. So if that is like 4.5 like sacks, I mean, I'm taking the over, at this point. Yeah. Like, it has been a disaster. Other quick stats to run through: Antonio Gibson, 12 carries, 38 yards, a touchdown. Terry McLaurin, 6 catches on 9 targets, 102 yards. A lot of that was in garbage time towards the end of the game. You had Curtis Samuel, 7 catches on 10 targets, 48 yards. Dodson, kind of a ghost in this one. 2 catches, 8 targets for 10 yards. One of the lone bright spots, Jamin Davis had not a bad game. A couple sacks in this one. Looked actually much better than this coaching staff has given him credit for recently.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, this was an ugly one. So I was watching this game along with some others, and it was one of those things where just early in this game, you're like, oh man, this is going to be bad. Like this is looking like it's one thing for the Lions the Lions punk you on the O-line. You kind of go, okay, maybe this was kind of a fluky thing. Aiden Hutchinson's a pretty good rookie. No big deal. Going into this game, you kind of know, all right, Eagles obviously good defense. We're probably going to get some pressure. It's probably not going to be the easiest game in the world. I did not expect what we saw on Sunday. This was not exactly how I saw this playing out. I thought there was a chance that the Eagles get the win. I bet on the Eagles. I did not think it was going to be like this, Mike. It was ugly.
And the funny thing when you're looking at this game is that the first quarter, they were playing all right. They weren't playing that bad. I mean, the defense didn't look horrible. The offensive line still wasn't great, but the defense kind of stepped it up. Then all of a sudden, an explosion of 24 points in the second quarter was pretty much the nail in the coffin. And you're looking at this team saying, where is the weakness? Like, where is the biggest weakness? Because last week against the Lions, the offense sucked. And yeah, okay, the defense wasn't much better. But at the same time, you know, the offense kind of ramped it back up in the second half last week, and the defense kind of sputtered. So you're seeing both, you know, give and take 50-50 with the blame last week. But then you're looking this week and saying, it's kind of odd. 8 points. That's all we got. And we got a safety. And all of a sudden we're looking at the defense saying, well, maybe they're not that bad. Maybe the offensive line just sucks so much that they literally get 3 plays to take a breather. And then all of a sudden they're back out there just getting trashed again. I just think that the biggest thing about our weaknesses, I think, are now being overshadowed by Chase Rouillet getting hurt. That's number one. We lost Eric Flowers. We lost Brandon Sheriff. So you're looking at it saying, now we're down 3 guys from our pretty good offensive line last year, and we plugged and played as much as we could, and right now it's just not working. And I think that when you're looking at Wentz, people are going to put a lot of blame on him. But the problem is I honestly don't think it's all on him. Yes. Are there legitimate concerns about him holding the ball too long and everything like that? Yes. Everything that goes into that, yes.
Sure.
But when you're looking at it, the guy, they literally showed it on the telecast. The guy has 2.7 seconds to throw the ball. Yeah. I mean, I can blink once in 2.7 seconds.
It's no time to do anything. You
can't, unbelievable.
You can't blame him. I mean, look, and I know, like, I know Ron Rivera came out and was like, you know, he's got to be better. Carson Wentz needs to be better, like, you know, that sort of stuff. And it's like, yeah, okay, sure. Yes. Does Carson Wentz need to be better? Yeah. I mean, I don't think he's played perfectly or anything like that. But at the same time, yeah, these guys are getting. I mean, Sam Cosmi has looked awful. Awful. Wes Schweitzer has looked awful at center. I mean, I don't really know who on this line has looked okay. Trey Turner, I don't really think. Andrew Norwell, like, none of these guys have really looked that good.
Wes Schweitzer was cut. And we had to bring him back, and all of a sudden he's brought back, and now he's playing out of position, playing center. And I'm like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point?
Ugly. It's so ugly. And, like, you know, and then, you know, on the defensive side of things, yeah, I would say, you know, you give up 24 points. That's not, in the NFL, that's not the worst day in the world. There still are some of these guys still are not making great plays. I mean, Kendall Fuller is struggling.
Oh, yeah, he is.
You know, Bobby McCain and William Jackson, like, these guys are struggling. I mean, we had Wild Goose out there who, you know, I had not really heard of before. Derek Forrest, who was pretty good through the first couple of weeks, was a ghost out there today. He was nothing. I mean, honestly, like, the only guys I feel like are having good games defensively these days are, you know, Cole Holcomb is always there making tackles. You know, the line obviously gets it done every now and then. Jamin Davis has been better. Besides that, all these other guys suck.
The coaches ragging on Jamin Davis every single game, and it's like, what happened to one of our signings, William Jackson III? Obviously, he didn't play this week, but it's like the first 2 weeks he sucked.
He's been terrible.
And like you mentioned, I looked at Jess and I said, who the hell is Wild Goose?
Yeah.
Like, I've never heard of that guy in my life. And I honestly thought we were in the back in the XFL where, you know, He Hate Me is on the back of his jersey. Right. Wild Goose. I'm like, who in the world is, I mean, where did he go to school? Like, where is this guy from? And that's I'm just confused, man, because literally they had a tweet out there. I think it was Grant Paulson who said it, that said, we're down one corner and we have like 5 guys that are combined 5 starts in the NFL. Where are our players?
Yeah, I don't. And that falls on Rivera. That falls on the organization. You there are players out there you can go get. I mean, it's not. I mean, this is the NFL. There's always somebody you can go get, and the fact that these guys that Rivera and this team is rolling out are guys like Wild Goose from Wisconsin, who, I mean, yeah, if you had asked me, who the 6th round pick in 2021 was for Buffalo, I would not have told you it was Rashad Wild Goose. I would not have known that. So this is.
I might need to get a Wild Goose jersey just cause.
Number 37. There you go. But yeah, I think this falls on Rivera. I think it's like, how could you have gone into this year, seen how thin this team was on the O-line heading into the year, and not, I mean, yeah, injuries happen. At the same time, you have to prepare for those. Like, you have to know those injuries are going to happen, so you got to, really stock up this team. And, man, they sure didn't. And yeah, I mean, it sucks to, rag on Sam Cosmi with him only being, this is his 2nd season. But, man, dude, has he looked overmatched. I mean, he has been just blown up, I feel like, game after game after game. And then, at some point, something's got to change.
I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say that everyone else is playing great on the offensive line, but Sam Cosmi is literally the overshadowing least valuable player right now, because of the sole fact that you're looking and saying last week, everyone was like, man, that's Carson's fault. He should have thrown it. It's like, okay, we get it. We understand that Carson Wentz needs to throw the ball faster or needs to get rid of it faster. But you can't have 9 sacks and then say, oh, well, 2 of those are Carson's fault, but 7 of them are the offensive line's fault. It's like, we're not it's not Lawrence Taylor out there. It's literally some guys that are pretty good on their defensive line, like Brandon Graham and so on and so forth. But they're not, like I said, they're not LT out there. It's not whoever else is out there. That Reggie White, like you're acting like that. He's always in the 2nd year and stuff like that. He got hurt last year. Give him some time. The guy's a 3rd rounder. Like, we're acting like this guy should be, some great, like Sewell from the Lions. Like, we're acting like he should be this great right tackle. But right now he's just ass. I mean, that's all I can say. He's bad. So it's like you're looking at him getting blown up left and right, and everyone's like, "Oh, Carson needs to get rid of the ball faster."
Yeah,
it's like, okay, it's not always Carson's fault. Okay, he had a 3-step. He had 2.5 seconds to throw the ball. I mean, the guy barely took one breath in 2.5 seconds.
And
Let's be honest,
he's just getting beat to hell. I mean, those 9 sacks take a toll. And luckily he's a big dude and big strong guy, and he's able to handle it. I mean, if he was Kyler Murray, he'd be squished. I mean, it's just not going to work. And then you look at this team and you realize hey, this team is one heroic play away from being 0-3. I mean, they got it done against Jacksonville, but they barely got it done. And now you lose in Detroit. You lose here at home against Philly, which we were kind of hoping they could split. They still can, obviously, but now it's going to be a Monday Night Football game in Philly later on in the season. You got to think that's going to be tough. Now you're heading to Dallas, who, I mean, they're 2-1. I mean, you can knock Dallas all you want and say, no Dak Prescott, but they're somehow finding a way to win football games still. And now I don't have confidence about that game, especially that one being on the road. I don't really have that much confidence about Tennessee at this point. I mean, really, the only team looking at the schedule that I have any confidence in is probably the Chicago game, and then probably the Atlanta game, maybe the Texans. Those are 3 wins right there, possibly. But you never know at this point because this team has just been so bad. I mean, it is tough to watch at this point.
And that's also the funny thing when you're looking at this schedule is it's hard to even handicap the schedule right now because they're playing so bad. Yeah. I mean, when we get blown out pretty much in the first half by the Lions, and then all of a sudden the Lions, as we previously stated last week, they had 3 drives that were 5 plays or less after we were coming back every 2 seconds. The problem is that, like you said, the Bears are just awful. They're still rebuilding, so that game should be an easy win for the most part. Hopefully an easy win.
Hopefully.
But you're looking at the Titans just had a good game. They just beat the Raiders. And all of a sudden, the Cowboys somehow are 3-1 or 2-1 or whatever they are, 2-1 with Cooper Rush, 2-0 with Cooper Rush. I mean, you just have to look at this team and say, can we climb out of this hole that we've dug? Because yes, it's only 1-2, and there's a lot of teams out there that are 2-1, 1-1, or whatever the mid range is right there.
It's still early,
but it's not like it gets so easy. I mean, we got a terrible stretch when it comes to the Packers and the Vikings in between 3 games, and then the Titans as well, like we just talked about. But the thing about this team is, how are they going to adjust? I keep saying that I'm done. And I've said this on Twitter. I've said this in text threads. I've said this everywhere. I'm done with this whole entire regime because they brought this regime in to change the culture. That was the biggest thing. Change the culture. Change the culture. But now Ron Rivera, Jack Del Rio, they can't adjust. Ron Rivera's doing personnel decisions. They have no backups, apparently.
Ron Rivera can't even throw a challenge flag in time.
Yeah, exactly. And that's my point, is like he just seems like he's there and he's delegating things out to people. But the problem is, you're the one that should be on the hot seat because of the sole fact that you're the one making the personnel decisions. And we have, no offense, Rashad Wildgoose is out there, and he got drafted last year. He's not even on the team that he got drafted on. And he's out there on the TV literally for like 30 plays. And I just wanted to hear the announcer say, "Oh, there's Wildgoose again, get the tackle." You know, it's like,
you didn't hear it because he wasn't doing much.
But that's what I'm saying, though, is like, I'm done with this whole entire changing the culture. So that the culture has so changed. The names change. I mean, for goodness sake, they're still debating on if it's a hog or a dog.
Culture's changed. They're worse than they've ever been. You know,
they're still doing. They have allegations everywhere. But the problem is, we need somebody in there that's going to be like a Cliff Kingsbury. It's going to be a Sean McVay, or maybe one of our assistants that's on the roster right now. Who the hell knows? Because every other assistant that we've had is now a head coach somewhere else having success. So you're just looking at it and saying that this team needs to move on from this regime. Now, I'm not saying fire him right now or whatever, but the problem is that it's just the same problems every single week going there. They're not adjusting after halftime. Now it's 2 weeks in a row where we had negative like 16 passing yards in the first half. How do you have negative 16 passing yards? It's just terrible. So right now I'm out on this regime. I need to make sure that somehow, some way, this franchise again doesn't screw up bringing somebody in and trying to sugarcoat it, saying, "Oh, he's changing the culture in here, guys. Riverboat Ron doesn't take any chances. Okay, that's done. He's done coaching. I like the guy. He's a nice guy and everything like that. But he keeps killing Jamin Davis. He's had 2 sacks. Stop killing him and kill someone that's, or not literally.
Yeah, he's killing Davis. He's killing Wentz.
It's stupid, man. It's killing me. It's killing me.
Those aren't the guys that you need to be killing. You know, like, you need to go after the personnel that you brought in and, you know, expect it to work, and they aren't working. So it has been just miserable to watch at this point. But I mean, the old adage is, it's still early. I mean, 3 games, there's time to turn this around, but all signs are not pointing to anything positive here in the future. So let's get away, and let's enjoy some food, Mike.
What the hell is that? I mean, it tastes like a stuffing that you'd stick in the arse end of a turkey.
Seafood crepe. Yeah, that's seafood crap.
When you take a bite of that cod, it's almost like you've got a breaded condom in your mouth. It's like it's been left out for days and it's been attacked by cats. Dry and tasteless. It's dry, it's... Dry? How dry that is. Bland as anything.
You're just bland.
Bland. There's no seasoning in there. Everything's bland. Bland. It's bland. Pasta's bland.
I don't even think he likes the water.
Little food review time. Throwing it back. That we used that for our food intro like 2018 or something.
That was a long time ago.
It's been a while. So, Mike, I've got 2 quick snacks I'm going to taste test, and then we're going to get over to the Sultan and hear some seltzer reviews. So first up, I've got the Oreo Brookio.
Oh, my God.
So this did originally make an appearance in 2021, and then it left, and now it is back in stores. And if you are unfamiliar with the Oreo Brookio, it has a brownie layer, the original stuff layer, and cookie dough layer. It's a triple layered Oreo, and I had
unbelievable
to try it on the show to give you, because I did not taste test this the first time around. So if you can see on the camera, by the way, check out the YouTube DC crossover. Let's see if I can get it to actually focus in here instead of it's focusing on me.
Hey, by the way, we got to give a shout out to Predator.
Oh, yes, we do have. Again, as I mentioned, the YouTube, we actually have a little bit of a YouTube following building, and we have. Thank you for remembering that.
You're welcome.
We do have a tremendous fan of the show, the _ Predators, who comments on a lot of our videos, and is clearly like the only guy that loves this show, and or girl, I don't know, whoever it is. But knowing our audience, it's probably a guy. And shout out to you, the Predators, because you're the greatest fan in the world, and we'd love to hear from you. So if you want to like join the show or something like that, feel free to
give us a take.
Email DC, I think it's like dccrossover@gmail.com or something like that.
just DM something.
You'll find it. You'll find us. All right. So the Oreo Brookio, again, there's 3 layers here. There's a cookie dough layer. And then on the top, you can see this is like a chocolate fudge layer.
Dude, that looks glorious.
You got the stuff, and then the bottom layer is the, you can kind of see.
Yeah, I see it.
Cookie dough. Okay, I'm just showing you there.
So
let me take a couple bites of this.
I got you. That thing, I mean, literally, the fudge part honestly looks the best, but I think, I do wish, now we'll get his review here in a second, because you can never have too much stuff. The stuff part is always the best. Now, when you have an Oreo thins, they're just, I mean, it's like paper. You need to make sure that you have enough stuff. And, we are proponents of the most stuff. I still have a whole entire pack, by the way, in my freezer.
Wow. Of the most stuff?
Oh, yeah. Whole full pack, never opened.
Wow.
And I have tag-alongs and do-si-dos in there. In my freezer.
This is a pretty incredible invention. I mean, wow. Right off the bat, you think going in that it's going to be too much stuff, like you're saying. But because it's layered and there are different flavors with the layers, it hits you with like those different flavors as you're eating the stuff. It's not all just one thing. So like you've got these different flavors hitting you, and like, man, the chocolate, the fudge part, the brownie layer, like really kind of carries the cookie. But
oh, really?
There is a little cookie dough in the mix, and then of course the stuff is so like, it's a white bland, like it's kind of just there. That is probably one of the best Oreos I've ever had.
Now does it measure up with our favorite, the fudge covered Oreo?
It would be up there with. I would like to go head to head with that
on the podium. Yeah.
I would like to put those two together, because this was pretty damn good. If I was to give a ranking out of 5, I would definitely go 4.25. I mean, it is a solid snack. Moving on.
I honestly think, though, we had a 5 out of 5 for the fudge covers.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to do. I think we can do a revision.
Got to bring it back. Wintertime. The wintertime.
So this other snack I brought Flamin Hot White Cheddar Smart Food Popcorn.
Damn, that looks good.
This has only been around. I was looking it up. It's only been around for a couple years. This was the first time I have seen it in the grocery store. So I saw it this Sunday, and I was like, we got to try it on the show. Because I like to always, I go to the grocery every Sunday morning, like 7 in the morning. And when I'm going through the aisles, especially the snack aisle, I always am peeking over to see if there's something I want to try for the show.
Oh, yeah.
So this is and I like so here's the thing. When it comes to the white cheddar popcorn, Smart Food is great. I'd say, that's the classic. There's people like Pirate's Booty as well. There's, another couple brands. But I will say Smart Food typically is your best option.
Yeah.
And with white cheddar popcorn, the nice thing is, too, for this one, only 60 calories per cup of this stuff.
Wow.
Which is kind of wild, because, a cup of this, this is how small it is. It's a decent amount. So as you can see, it's got the coating, kind of the Flamin' Hot type coating. So I'm going to take a bite of a couple of these, and I'll give you my thoughts.
So when I go with Flamin' Hot, I always vote for the Flamin' Hot Doritos over the Cheetos. First of all, because there's more substance there to consume, but also because there's more Flamin' Hot seasoning that you can consume as well. The Flamin' Hot Cheetos are great, but I just think that when you look at the Doritos, they're climbing the ranks because of the sole fact that, they came out with Flamin' Hot Cool Ranch, Flamin' Hot, oh.
They got a kick.
You okay?
I'm good. Wow.
Hit the back of your throat pretty intensely.
Well, that coating is there, man. It hits you with the heat. So this is interesting, because it is an interesting way to deliver the heat, because you and I have had, like you were saying, Flamin' Hot Cheetos, Flamin' Hot Doritos, we're kind of used to hot chips or those types of products. And
that's the new thing, is hot chips.
Right. And like getting those and eating those, we're so used to them being delivered in that way.
Yeah.
Hot popcorn is something that's fairly new. Like I've never really had spicy
From left
popcorn
field.
really. So it's an interesting way because, yeah, I mean they're coated in a lot of heat, which is great. I love it. I would say these are really solid. I would not say these are better than like your Flamin Hot Doritos or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I would kill half the bag of this easily, and I wouldn't even feel that bad about it because 2 cups of this is only like 120 calories, and you could easily put that down. Really good heat on it. Get a little bit of the cheddar flavor. It is white cheddar popcorn, so you do get some of that. But it feels very light too because it is like that like kind of lighter popcorn thing. So you don't feel weighed down. It's solid.
Yeah.
Solid 3.5. Solid 3.5 on the white
Okay.
cheddar popcorn.
So speaking of the Smart Food white cheddar Flamin' popcorn,
Right.
this is something that I do a lot. Now it could be said that it's kind of gross, but it
It's okay.
also
I'm here for this.
it also could be something that you think is very ingenious.
Okay.
Or genius. What's ingenious mean? Does that mean it's not genius?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's on
English show.
Anyways, so I usually get the bag, especially when it's lower, and I go like this, and
Oh yeah, that's not a bad thing at all.
I start dumping it in my mouth.
No,
But
that is a perfectly acceptable method.
well, people like, and I've seen it with most people. They say, "Don't do that. Like, get a plate or
What?
or
That's a
something
waste
else."
of a plate.
Yeah, it's like, first of all, when it's a Flamin' Hot, I don't want to get it all over my hands because, especially with the Flamin' Hot Doritos,
Yeah.
because of the substance I told you about,
Right.
your fingers are like red for like 2 days.
Well, you know the key. What I use is those little chip clips that you use to close bags. I actually take that, and that's how I eat the chips. Is I use the chip clip to pick up the chips
That's
and
too
put
much
it in
work.
my mouth. No, it's really not. It's not that bad. It's very easy. You're just pinching it and then putting it in your mouth.
But
It's
I'd
a
rather
chip
do
clip.
the method where at the very end, when there's only like
Well,
4 or
that's
5
the
chips
end. But
left.
you've already been getting stuff on your
Yeah,
fingers. the
but
whole
this
time.
is the popcorn though, where they're small. So
Right.
it's like I want to go like this, like I want to like put like
So you think I could
No,
take this,
I want to tilt it.
and you think I could maybe tilt this into my
Yeah,
mouth?
do it. How great is that? You got a mouth. You got
Fingers are clean.
Yeah, fingers are clean. I mean, I got a lot of inventions of this, man. Now it's not really an invention. It's just oh my god, it's just a method. But and that's the thing. It's like fingers are clean. You got a nice bite, and then you're like, all right, now I just put the bag away and I'm done. I don't have to sit here scrubbing my hands with Dawn, for 5 minutes trying to get this red off my fingers.
You're right.
Hey,
Sorry, I need a sip of water.
genius or ingenious, whichever one it is.
Yeah, that'll be the next show we play, the next game we play on the show. Let's move from the snack side of things
I love the new music.
to our old pal, the Sultan of Seltzers. Reviews are sponsored by nobody, but if you would like to sponsor the show,
Yeah,
this segment of the show, feel free to reach out.
maybe get a brewery or someone to do it.
True.
Seltzer
So, if you have not heard this segment, the Sultan reviews a seltzer. That's why it's called Sultan of Seltzer Reviews.
Yep.
Our number one seltzer at the moment, the Wild Basin Black Raspberry at 8.4 out of 10. Your lowest ranked seltzer at the moment, White Claw Passion Fruit, 4.1 out of 10. What is in store for the folks at home today, Sultan?
So the Sultan of Seltzer review for this week on the DC crossover is Sonic. Yes, you heard it right, folks. Sonic, the pull-up fast food place, I
Yep.
guess. Hard seltzer, mango guava.
Hard seltzer mango guava from Sonic, which is
Yeah.
very interesting because you walk into your grocery store, you don't necessarily expect to see like a McDonald's hard seltzer. It's like it's kind of an interesting move by Sonic.
It is kind of weird because when I first saw it, I was like, what in the world is that?
Right.
Because I always go in that seltzer aisle and they always have some random new ones in there. And I'm always like, okay, I'll give it a go.
Everybody's making a hard seltzer these days.
Yeah, but I guess Sonic is faltering in the fast food game, so they're trying to go in the alcohol game. So first things first, we do appeal. So we rate
Right.
appeal. This appeal sucks. It's literally the Sonic logo, and it's just like a bunch of colors that are just barfed all over. I mean, look at this thing. You can see it on the YouTube DC crossover. Like, look at it. You got pink down here. You got orange, and you got red and yellow at the top.
It doesn't look great.
It's just it's something that you drink at a tailgate when you don't care what you have, or you just cover it with a koozie. It's not like something that you look at and you're like, man, that looks really cool, like the Wild Basin ones that look like Yellowstone on there. So let's give it a go. Get a little crack in there. Okay, Sonic Hard Seltzer Mango Guava.
Sultan's gonna do his sip here. It looks like these seltzers originated this year.
Now we love our mango because Three
Mango's
Birds Hard
usually a great
Seltzer
move, yeah.
Mango Lemonade. Three Birds one 7.6 out of 10, not too bad. But then we also have, well, at least my favorite. Now I'm not exactly sure if it's your complete favorite, but the Mango Truly Lemonade.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
That's my all-time favorite.
If it's not my favorite, it's number 2. Like, it's right there for sure. It's one of the best. So
yeah.
I'm interested to hear. So the Sultan is taking a couple sips here, and then he's going to give us a thoughts on his taste before he gives us our overall rating.
What's a guava? Like seeds or something?
Guava.
Yeah, what is guava? That's not a fruit, is it?
I think it is a fruit. Guava is a fruit. Yeah. It's a little small, like green fruit that has like a pink center.
Oh, it's this thing.
It's unique.
I thought this was a watermelon that was on this. See how the can sucks? Because it looks like a watermelon.
Yeah,
So apparently it's a guava.
But that's what the guava looks like. Yeah. Some people think it tastes like a hybrid between a strawberry and a pear, it says. So there you go.
All right.
It is, I think it's a common tropical fruit cultivated in many tropical and subtropical regions. So
the Sonic Hard Seltzer Mango Guava, the taste, it's not bad, but to me, it's just middle of the road. Like it's nothing special.
Distinctive.
Now, I'm not gonna say it's tastes like butt, like the passion fruit one,
well, yeah.
but
I like it.
but oh, here comes the Herndon Laugher. But this one, it's just like I said, it's just middle of the road. It's nothing special, but it's not like I'm gonna seek it out like the Truly Lemonade. It's like I've been going to freaking Total Wines, Costco. I'm trying to get those damn Truly Lemonades, and now I can only find them in a freaking 12-pack, which sucks. So I think I got the review. I got it.
Okay. Let me get the drum roll ready here.
Okay. So
here we go.
The Sonic Hard Seltzer Mango Guava is a solid 6.7 out of 10. 6.7.
6.7 out of 10. That now puts it in, I think, like 5th place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th place. 6th place. So actually, it's now second to last of the ones that you've tried. So,
like I said, it's a solid seltzer. It's just there's nothing to it. It's just like you just have a hint of fruit, and it's just like a hint of fruit and water.
Right.
Like,
and that's a fair criticism for these things because look, like just because you throw a fruit flavor in there doesn't necessarily make it the best seltzer in the world.
Right.
Like there has to be a little something unique, a little something distinct to it. So yeah, I get that because part of why we like the Truly Lemonade so much is like they take that fruitiness and they add another like level to it.
Yeah, it packs a punch.
It tastes so good. Those are still my favorites. I had one tonight actually.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I mean, it's just the thing about these kind of seltzers is now that we've tasted, I've done 7 of them. Like some of them are just like, but some of them have like a kick, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, where'd that come from?
Right.
And then all of a sudden, like some of them, like this one, it's just like it tastes like a fruit cocktail, and it's like, sure, that's not terrible, but it's above average, I would say. That's why it's a 6.7 because average is a middle of the road 5. But when you're looking at it, it's like this isn't better than a truly lemonade, or I mean, obviously that's our go-to, but I mean, I would even put like the regular black cherry White Claw way above this, stuff like that, because it's just there. Like this is like the person at the party that's just there, and then someone might say, hey, how's it going, Rick, and then say, hey, how's it going, how's the family? All right, it's pretty good. All right, see you later. Like he's that guy that no one really wants to talk to, but they'll be cordial with him. It's just the person that's
then
there
again,
at
would
the
you
party.
expect anything more from Sonic? I mean, that's the bigger question.
Hey, but I will say it's not terrible, and I expected a lot more out of White Claw last week.
There you go. All right, that is the Sultan of Seltzers. We'll move into the final lap, and then we'll do our picks here. We'll skip trivia this week. Final lap, just some thoughts on some bigger stories in sports. We'll kick things off. The Virginia Tech Hokies might fall to the West Virginia Mountaineers this weekend.
I just feel bad for Brent Pry because of the sole fact that literally Justin Fuente drove this program into the ground. Apparently they have recruits that don't even know to not deck a quarterback when the quarterback's throwing the ball. Like, he already threw the ball. The guy decks him 2 seconds later. The recruits are terrible, and I'm hoping that Brett Pry can dig us out of this rut that Justin Fuente put us in.
An injury-filled weekend. You had Mac Jones go down. Tua went down. You had Dalvin Cook go down. Which one of those is the most devastating for their team?
I mean, Dalvin Cook's a huge deal because if you don't have a run game, yes, Madison or Matheson or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Madison. I thought it was Madison. He's a good running back, but he ain't no Dalvin Cook. He ain't no Derrick Henry type
back. Looks like him. He's got the long hair in the back, and sometimes you get him confused. He has a little redness in his hair, like some red braid or something like that. So that's how you can tell him. But I have Madison in the fantasy league, so
he's not bad. But at the same time, it's like you need a back there with Kirk Cousins to take the pressure off of Kirk Cousins.
Myles Garrett got into a car crash a couple days ago. I don't know if you saw this. Kind of a weird story. I mean, yeah, you just don't. It was like a one vehicle crash. I think he's injured his shoulder, injured his biceps. It's always weird when you hear about athletes like outside of their sport,
right.
Beyond like anything like crazy, obviously. But he was heading southbound in his Porsche, and the vehicle went off the right side of the road, overturned, and landed in a ditch. Kind of crazy.
Got nothing else to say about it.
It
is what it is.
Last one, the Pro Bowl. So they've been trying to figure out how to make the Pro Bowl watchable. The latest thought is they're going to change, instead of playing like a regular game, they're going to change it to flag football this year, Mike.
You know what I would
flag football?
You know what? I mean, if nothing else is on, yes. But at the same time, you're looking at it. I mean, if you could bet on it, maybe. I think that the thing what they should do is they should have a DraftKings or a FanDuel or a MGM, whatever, sponsor it. Then you can have boosts and stuff like that. And then the winner gets, from the proceeds that people bet on it, the winning team can, donate that money to something. And then all of a sudden it turns into something fun that you could actually do because the players, they might get an incentive, like a little bonus or something like that from the sports book or whatever. I mean, you got to bring gambling into it. That's how things become popular.
How people pay attention at this
Everyone
point.
wants to bet on sports. And I think, honestly, if you change the Pro Bowl into a flag football tournament, that could be cool.
You do a little like 3-on-3 or 4-on-4.
I would do like a 5-on-5 and do the Pro Bowl,
5-on-5,
and you can have I don't know, David Bakhtiari out there like catching passes or something like that.
Maybe guys from like each division or something like that.
Something like that. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think
make it a double elimination tournament. Make it fun.
Yeah, you got to figure out something because otherwise
I don't want to see Russell Wilson throwing balls through a hula hoop.
I don't think
it makes no sense.
I don't think I've sat down and watched the Pro Bowl in a decade.
Me either.
Just no interest. Let's move on to the final bit of the show here, the money line, sponsored by DraftKings. Our picks of the week, rough one for me. 0-2, great week from Mike. 2-0. This was a big week for both of us.
I went 1-1.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well,
I was 3-1. Yeah.
Right.
I'll take the credit though if you want to.
Right. So it is a brand new week, and I like my board here. My dogs, I'm going TCU plus 6.5 versus Oklahoma. Now look, Oklahoma, I've watched almost every one of their games at this point this season. They're a good team. Dylan Gabriel, QB. They've got playmakers. TCU has been pretty good this year. I don't think they're as good as Oklahoma for the most part, but I think they can at least keep this game close. I think they'll cover the 6.5. The one that I'm very confident about is Washington. Washington, I saw this team obviously play Michigan State, and then I watched them a little bit this week as well. This team, I mean, Penix is super under the radar as one of the best QBs in the nation right now. But because it's Washington, nobody's watching. But this is a really good Washington team. I think they're going to stomp UCLA. I love the 3 points there. I think they're going to win by a couple touchdowns in this one. So I'm definitely my lock. Washington 3-point favorites over UCLA.
Is Chip Kelly still the UCLA coach?
Yeah.
You know what the funny thing is he's fallen from grace so quickly after leaving Oregon. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a top 5 perennial program powerhouse, had his whole program running on all cylinders every single year at Oregon with all their different unis and all that stuff. Goes to Philly, sucks as the Eagles head coach. They boot him out of town. And it's like now he's back on the West Coast at a premier school out in LA. And he still can't do anything over there. It's like, dude, you left a great gig. And I mean, there's a reason why you look at Nick Saban. I'll get to my picks in a second.
Sure.
You look at Nick Saban, and he goes out there, and he is at Alabama, has one of the perennial programs, rebuilt Alabama to now all of a sudden be number 1 to 3 every single year in the rankings, goes to national championships every year, gets great recruits, all this kind of stuff. And he stays there. Yes, he did go to the Dolphins for a short bit. Did not work out there. But he now knows that the NFL isn't for him. I mean, it's the same thing at Urban Meyer. The NFL wasn't for him. A lot of these coaches know that the NFL isn't for you. You know, you're looking at some coaches like Cliff Kingsbury. Okay, the NFL. I mean, he did get a number 1 pick, so that's nice. But you're looking at it and saying, the NFL isn't for some college coaches, and look how Chip Kelly has literally fallen down. Where I didn't even know if he was still the coach. At UCLA.
Nobody's paying attention to Chip Kelly these days. That's for. And the funny thing is like I feel like that's going to happen with what's his face, who's now at LSU from.
Oh yeah, Brian Kelly.
Yeah. I think it's going to be the same kind of deal where it's like he's going to fail at LSU. They're going to run him out of town, and then he's going to end up at some other. Like Washington State or something like that, and you're going to be like, what happened to that guy?
And that's the problem with coaches like that is Brian Kelly was at Cincinnati. He was not a Luke Fickell. Luke Fickell, I mean, he's making players into high draft picks. I mean, they had like 4 number 1s or 4 number first rounders this year or something like that. So that's the thing is you're looking at it and saying he was at Cincinnati, kind of, it was a weaker division then. Then all of a sudden he went to Notre Dame. Notre Dame has the privilege of being an independent. They can do whatever the heck they want and all that kind of stuff. And now he goes to LSU and he's losing games and he's not playing that well and stuff like that. It's not like Coach O, go. It's not like I'm going to say that every single time. It's not like Coach O ran that program to the ground like Justin Fuente. Look at Justin Fuente. He was the QB whisperer. Paxton Lynch goes to the NFL. He sucks. And then all of a sudden he goes to Tech and he ran that program ground. So it's just some things aren't for you. You need to stay at those smaller schools or whatever and win those minuscule games. Yeah. And then that might work out.
By the way, before you do your picks real quick, I will say my favorite team that I've been watching so far in college football this season is Tennessee. Hendon Hooker and that team, they're up tempo. They never, I mean, they never stop moving. Hendon Hooker, that Tennessee Florida game was incredible because you had Richardson, you had Hooker, both guys just threw over like 300 yards. They both ran for like over 100 yards. Wild game. Tennessee, obviously, real tough schedule. You got Bama on the schedule. You got Georgia. You got Kentucky, LSU. Like, it's not going to be easy, but I will say they're one of my favorite teams I've seen so far this year.
Well, yeah, again, Justin Fuente, I don't know how he's becoming a topic right now this week, but thanks a lot for that, too. Hendon Hooker was at Virginia Tech, and he didn't get to play or this play. I was like, it's like, whatever.
Now he's like a Heisman candidate. Right?
Yeah, now he's out in Tennessee just throwing dimes left and right. Anyways, all right. My lock of the week, Seattle and Detroit. Detroit's scoring at will. They have the second most points in the NFL. Yep. And the funny thing is going back to one of my buddies that thinks he knows it all about football, even though he didn't even watch the game this week. He thinks, Carson Wentz, he blew it against Detroit. And I said, Detroit scores the second most points in the NFL this year. Like, I don't understand what you're talking about. Besides the point. So I even texted it to you. I was like, Ben's having the year of his life. I mean, Detroit's scoring at will. They did blow a game.
Wish it translated to a little more wins. But no, you're right. The offense has been fun for sure.
Seattle, Detroit, I'm going over 50. I think it might be like a 27, 21, something like that type game. Seattle might get a late score, something like that. I think Detroit's going to win this one. I think Detroit's going to probably win by over 6, or probably 6 or more. I think the spread right now is 5.5, possibly. I need to go back and look at that, but I think it's going to be changing as the week goes on. Yeah. My dogs, I got Wake Forest. Sam Hartman is back. 6.5.
Crazy game this past weekend with Wake.
Plus 6.5 at FSU. Now FSU, somehow they're playing a lot better than they have been in years past. But Wake Forest, they had another big game this past week. So I just think that Wake Forest can
double overtime. I think. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it was something of that nature, but it was a ton of points scored, just like last year. And the funny thing about it is, I think Wake Forest can keep it somewhat close because they got a nice offense. They got a high-powered offense for the most part. 6.5. I mean, if Wake Forest didn't have Sam Hartman in the lineup right now, it probably would be 15.5. So I think that he can make up for that deficit, maybe get a late score, like I said, with Seattle. But I think Wake Forest plus 6.5 has a pretty decent chance.
Yeah, double overtime, 51-45, losing to Clemson.
Yeah.
I hadn't had a chance to watch that one, but
wonder if Ukulele is still the quarterback.
He is. He threw for 5 touchdowns in that one, but
Ooh.
Sam Hartman threw for 6.
Wake Forest is an offensive team, not a defensive team.
20 for 29, 337 yards, 6 touchdowns, no interceptions. Have yourself a game, Sam Hartman.
Yeah.
Those are our picks of the week. Again, Mike leads right now. The current standings he is 4-2. I am 2-4. I'm looking to get back to 500 this week. Besides that, people, we will be breaking down the Cowboys and Commanders game next episode. We'll be also we're nearing the start of NHL and NBA as well, so we'll definitely be seeing if we can start talking a little bit of that as we get closer and closer. Follow the show at the DC Crossover on Twitter and at Cerrone16 for Mike. Again, check out the YouTube. We put up all the video on YouTube as well. We got _Predators, our biggest fan. We will
Predators.
see you next week. Take us out, John. This has been another episode of the DC Crossover.
Go ahead, Predators. Sing along, buddy. We love you.